The Walls of Wisdom, Ancient Design, Modern Resilience. In the heart of Benin City, Chinedu sat in a lecture hall that felt too small for his dreams. Around him, blueprints of glass towers and steel grids cluttered the desks, designs that looked the same whether they were in London, Dubai, or Lagos. Chinedu sighed, sketching a jagged line across his notepad. He wondered why the modern world seemed so intent on building boxes that trapped the heat and ignored the soul of the land. His professor spoke of progress, but to Chinedu, it felt like a quiet erasure of the ground beneath their feet. Seeking a spark, Chinedu spent his afternoons in the dusty corners of the university archives. It was there, tucked between brittle journals, that he found a forgotten map of the Benin Kingdom. The lines weren't straight. They spiraled and pulsed with a mathematical rhythm he had never seen in his textbooks. This was the Great Wall of Benin, a massive network of earthworks that once stretched 4 times longer than the Great Wall of China. He traced the fractal patterns with his thumb, feeling a sudden, electric connection to the past. To understand the heart of the design, Chinedu sought out Baba Efe, a local historian whose porch was always shaded by heavy mango trees. Baba Efe spoke of the walls not just as a defense, but as a living organism. They were built with the earth itself, the old man explained, gesturing to the soil. The moats were designed to catch the rains, and the fractal layouts ensured that as the community grew, the harmony remained. It was a city that breathed with the forest, Chinedu. It was a design of belonging. The air grew heavy as Baba Efe spoke of 1897. He described the sound of the flames and the sight of the mighty ramparts falling under the weight of an invading force. They tried to burn the wisdom away, Baba Efe said quietly, his eyes reflecting the shadows of the porch. They saw the walls as a barrier to their civilization, never realizing they were destroying a masterclass in sustainability. But a blueprint can be burned, Chinedu, while the principles remain etched in our very spirit. Chinedu spent the next morning at the edge of the city, where the remnants of the ancient moats still carved deep green valleys through the red earth. He stood on the precipice, watching how the ferns clung to the steep walls and how the air in the hollows remained cool, despite the midday sun. He realized that the ancient builders hadn't fought the tropical heat. They had invited it in and guided it through the corridors of the earth. He pulled out his camera, capturing the way the sunlight hit the ridges of the ruins. Back in his studio, Chinedu's pencil flew across the page. He wasn't just copying the past, he was translating it. He designed modular housing units that mimicked the fractal clusters of the Old Kingdom. He incorporated living walls of compressed earth and integrated rainwater harvesting systems that mirrored the ancient moats. His project, titled The Resilient Fractal, began to take shape, a vision of a Benin City that was carbon neutral, community-centered, and deeply rooted in its own history. One afternoon, a woman named Adesua visited the university gallery. She was a lead strategist from the Pulse, a regional innovation hub that used artificial intelligence to solve urban crises. She stopped in front of Chinedu's model, her eyes widening at the marriage of ancient geometry and modern tech. "Most students look forward for answers," she said, turning to Chinedu. "You're the first one I've seen who had the courage to look back. Your layout handles heat distribution better than any of our current simulations." Adesua invited Chinedu to the hub, where they fed his designs into a high-powered AI processor. The screens came alive with glowing blue light as the computer simulated 50 years of urban growth. The fractal design Chinedu had adapted from the Great Walls didn't collapse under the pressure of a rising population. Instead, it optimized itself, creating new pockets of green space and efficient transit routes automatically. "The math of our ancestors was ahead of its time," Adesua whispered, watching the simulation bloom like a digital flower. The day of the final presentation arrived. The auditorium was packed with architects, city planners, and skeptical developers. Chinedu stood at the lectern, his heart hammering against his ribs. He looked out at the sea of faces and remembered the coolness of the ancient moat and the warmth in Baba Efe's voice. He clicked the remote, and his vision of a restored Benin filled the screen. a city of terracotta and greenery, powered by the sun and cooled by the earth. History is not a cage to keep us in the past, Chinedu told the silent room. It is a blueprint for a future we have forgotten how to build. The Great Walls were destroyed once, but their wisdom is resilient. We don't need to import a future, we just need to remember our own. As the room erupted into applause, Chinedu saw Adesua nodding from the front row. He knew this was just the beginning. The walls were rising again, not to keep people out, but to hold a new generation together.